So welcome back to what I think will be the last section of this creation by numbers sequence of videos that I've done. And in the last one, I brought these two numbers together to give the numbers in black going around the outside. So there was the 10 and the 2 giving the 12, the 6 and 5, no, the 5 and the 1 giving the 6, the 3 and the 5, 18, 4 and 20, 24, and so on, all the way around up until the 60 and the 12, which give us the 72. Why was that? Why did I think it was important to bring up these joint numbers? First of all, the joint numbers were what were helping us to get out onto this 639 circle, because as we add these up, the root numbers, so the root numbers of these are 6, 3, 9, 6, 2 plus 4 is 6, 3 plus 0 is 3, 3 plus 6 is 9, so that we're really on the green circle here. So when we join these together, then we're changing our conscious awareness, and we're moving out onto the 639 pattern here. So I'm showing what the joint numbers are here in 18, and just possibly to show that, first of all, that they go up in sixes, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, and so on, and also that it finishes in 72. And like I talk about this in Powers of Now, but 72, it's like 27 is what I identify as the ego mind. This is let's get rid of that. Another interesting point is, if you remember the numbers of creation, we get the 9, which breaks down into the 6 and the 3, and then the 3 breaks down into the 1 and the 2, so we've got the 6, the 1 and the 2, and this the core of the start of creation. I mean, creation started with the 9, with the 3 and the 6, and then we're getting into more of what we could call like sort of manifest creation. And so it's then the 1 and the 2 that go on to create the other numbers through a process of division. So let's have a quick look at that. The numbers that are created when the 2 divides into the 1 are the 5, the 7, the 8, the 4, and then also the 2 and the 1. The 2 and the 1, in this case of process, if you've seen the last videos, they're corresponding to the 11 and the 10 here. 1 plus 1 is 2, and 1 plus 0 is 1. So they're the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers that are created through the division of the 1 and the 2, the 2 into the 1. But this gives us the two number groups of the 1, 4, 7 and the 2, 5, 8. Should have really done that in a different colour. And the thing that's interesting about this is that if we just simply add up all those numbers together, then the sum total is 27. And 27, as I say in the Powers of 9, is the symbol of the ego mind. So ego mind, we can also talk about it as being mental proliferation caught up in thinking, basically. So that's the 27, and they're the created manifest numbers. And what you'll notice there is that in these numbers we don't have the 3, 6 or 9, which are more the celestial numbers. They're the numbers that were created originally, and these are the next lower generations, subsequent generations that came out of it. Also, with these other numbers, that is one group, the celestial group, if you like, and out of these created numbers you get the other numbers, the other number groups, which is 1, 4, 7, and you get your, change color please, your 2, 5 and 8. And just interest as well, if we add these up together, here we get 15 there, and with the 147 we get a 12. So obviously these root numbers are 3 and this one is 6. So this is where they've come from. They've come from the 3 and the 6. These are a generation further down the line, which is why we're no longer in the 0 to 9 on the times table. We're now on the 10 to 18, and this is the 3 in that number, in the stretch of numbers between 10 and 18. If we give all the numbers between 10 and 18 a root number, we get one of each number. The 12 is the 3, the 15 is the 6. Obviously these two added together give us that 27 for the ego mind. Can I get rid of this right now? So let's get rid of that. Hopefully you can hold on to some of that information. So we said that the 27 is representing the ego mind. So the 72 is, let's say, the opposite of 27. So what is the 72? The 72 is the capacities or the elements of the mind which we can tap into and use whilst also staying present. Because what happens when we get drawn into ego tracks, mental ego tracks, is that actually we're not really connected to the present, and we may be flashing, because the created numbers are the 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and when we're in ego mind, you know, we're turning around in this two-dimensional plane and we're caught up in these numbers. Yeah, we flash through the 3s, the 6, the 9s and the 12. So we still have this sense of being present, in connected to what's going on. But by and large, the majority of the time, we're actually caught up in mental streams. So that's what it means to be caught up in the numbers which add up to 27 as we're turning around the clock like this. So the 72 is what I call the sort of celestial number. This is like the manifest number, and so turning around here, the culmination of getting these numbers together, and this is what I talked about in one of the last videos, was being able to stay aware second by second, minute by minute. Then we're bringing these together and we're jumping out onto this cycle of conscious awareness. And so the total of this brings us all the way, when we're able to do this, perhaps if we can do it for a minute solid or an hour solid, then we're manifesting the 72, which is this quality, more qualities of like analytical thought, critical thinking, and these are the sorts of mental activities that we can perform whilst also keeping an awareness of other present moment factors. It's also possible, like, I think, you know, it's still an ongoing inquiry even with myself, but I think, you know, I would put the 36, I break down, in the book I break down all the pairs of numbers that make up 9, and like 27's ego mind, 72 is, I don't know, conscious awareness, maybe it's awakened mind, but it's not really awakened mind, because conscious awareness needs to have, like, we can do analytical thinking, critical thinking and not be present, but when it's added to the 36, which I think is more observer consciousness, so that's when it's more a case of observer mind. And that's also interesting because when we did the totals of the latitudinal lines, they're all 60 and 12, which also add up to the 72. And then here on these two longitudinal lines, we got the 36s. And so the 72 and the 36 together give us the 108, which is running down on these last three of the longitudinal lines. So when you add these together, you get the 6 and the 12, which was 18, 30 and the 60, which was 90. Altogether that gave a total of the 108. So and these guys are kind of, you know, these longitudinal and latitudinal lines are obviously meshed together, and they're creating the 3D spherical form. So when we're able to shift into present moments, we're still able to use the mind with its critical, analytical thinking, and possibly other types of mental activity. It is when it's aligned with observer consciousness, that's when it is conscious awareness, awakened mind. And so when we're talking about Jesus being on the cross, he's not on the cross, he's really on the sphere. That means he's conscious of his energetic being. And the awakened state is this fusion of the physical and the energetic bodies when they come together to resonate in a certain harmony together. And so in this direction, I told you this by the latitudinal lines being connected more with consciousness, the 3s, the longitudinal lines being connected with the 6 and the energetic side, but of course in the sphere they're meshed together. And what I talk about in the Powers of Now videos, and certainly in the book, is when we get into the geographic forms. Like for me, we've got the 369 triangle, and then we get the 147 triangle, and the 258 triangle, these two being interchangeable. But when we looked at the planes of existence, I'm going to talk as if people have got some basis in the Powers of 9. When we look at the numbers that came out of the planes of existence, and we trace the geometric forms that they created, the 9-pointed star, the regular 9-pointed star, the expanded 9-pointed star, and then the nonagon, the 9-pointed hexagon, whatever, a nonagon. So all those numbers come out of tracing the 9-spoked Dharma wheel with the numbers that were given, and the only lines that weren't traced out when we got to the end of it, where there was the lines for this 9-pointed star, the equilateral, what I call the equilateral 9-pointed star, because this is made up of 3 perfect equilateral triangles. And it is when we looked at, remember the star map, it is when these triangles are spinning in opposite but equal directions. This is when we're this is symbolic of the awakened mind state. And I believe that this is a actual change in our neuronal firing, a different way of functioning in terms of how we perceive and connect consciously with the world around us. And this is intimated at when we looked at all the geometric shapes, but it's not actually traced on the maps that we had to work from, the number maps, if you like, that we had to work from. So, but why I'm coming to here is really only to say that obviously an equilateral triangle has an interior angle of 60 degrees, and that means also that the exterior angle on a equilateral triangle is 120 degrees. Yeah, 120 degrees. I didn't do the 0 because I'm looking at 60 and 12 here, 60 and 12. But you can see here that the connections between the 60 and the 12 here, the 60 and 12 there, and the 60 and the 12 over there, and they're all pointing towards when we bring these elements together, then this is what is creating the equilateral triangles, which are then turning in their appropriate directions and order. In the beginning, 0, I'm almost going back to the story, but 0 was the universal energy, and at some point there was a break, and this bit turned inside, curled itself round, and created the 9. As I already said, the egg and the sperm, the 0 and the 9, and then the 9 breaks down into the perfect harmonic of third and 2/3, creating the 3 and the 6. And then the son did as the father did, and he broke down also into 1/3 and 2/3, and the 6, the universal, which was the manifest version of universal energy, continues down into this generation untouched, which is what forms here. The 6 transcends the entire sphere. This is the Kundalini serpent coiled at the base chakra, waiting to be awakened. And then, so the 6 descends to the bottom, and the 1 and 2 then are left to create this dance of creation. And that dance of creation is done through division. The 1 is divided into by the 2. The 2 divides into the 1. So the 2 divides into the 1. And let's just throw up the word division, the word divide, and what we get here when we split the words into 2, we get the word di, and the prefix of di generally means 2, and obviously we've got the word here, we've got the word vision, so double vision, if you like, or 2 visions. So, and vide or vide in French, vide is emptiness, empty, and so 2 emptinesses. So this is like, so the awakened state is when we're both aware of our internal experience moment by moment. So by that I'm talking about the physical sensations, the emotional sensations, and the mental. So the inner aspect is also broken down into 3 elements: mind, body, and emotional body, physical body and emotional body. And then the second is the external sphere, that which is all around us. This is the idea of being perched at the sense doors, being aware of the sounds, the lights, the smells, the sensations, tactile. And so it's when we've got this double vision, or also when we've got this vide, 2 vides, because this is also draws in the concept of the observer consciousness, whereby we're not caught up in mental streams. There's a certain spaciousness there, an emptiness where we're got a little bit of space between us and the interior sensations, as in body, mind and emotional body, and also all those things that are coming to us from the outside, which can also be stuff coming from other beings, other humans and what have you. And we've got that space, that void, that emptiness between them as we're observing all that, and we're able to hold all this together as we move into the awakened state. And then of course are these guys also connected to the root of the word divine. Also I'm saying this is vid for emptiness, but also the root of the word vid, vid, is also the same root of the word for video, which is also another way of seeing video, vision. So even in the Pali, there's the word vidya. I'm not sure how it's spelled, but this is to see, the vision, to have the vision. So divid, divine, it's also got the same sense as division in any case. And since I'm going with French as well, I'm saying, so is this connected to also the root of what is divinity, to be able to have this altered perception or way of perceiving the world and ourselves within the world. So divine, I'll do this as well just for fun, but if we go with their numerological numbers, D is 4, I is 9. Also the I, the number 9 is very prominent in these words. So V is 22, I think. 9 is the I again. 14 and 5. This is just corresponding to their placement in the alphabet. These are their numerological numbers. So when we add all these together, 4 plus 9 plus 22 plus 9 plus 14 plus 5, and that equals 63, which obviously is the 6 and 3, and also gives us the root number of 9. 63 being a very special formulation of that, which is manifest universal energy. That's the symbol of the 63. But we could also cut that down and just talk about love and compassion and all those goodies that are part of, that come into that way of being, that way of perceiving the world around us. So, and if we're talking about the French vide, I don't know, vin, it's wine. This also, if we just added that to a W, wine. I'm not sure if wine is connected to being able to perceive things in a more divine way. I'd say not myself, but wine is still quite prominent in a lot of religious ceremonies. So I'm not promoting wine, but I am promoting changing the way that we view the world, connection that we have within ourselves, the connection we have with the world around us, and doing that moment to moment, and not just randomly at various moments, but doing it consciously, continuously. And that's the key to awakening, or something like that. Okay, I think that wraps up this series of videos on creation by numbers. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.